Welcome to the Be Smart podcast. Jared, how was your Thanksgiving weekend?
Couldn't have been better. It was fantastic. I had my brother and his wife and my nephew and his wife over to the house. Really the first time we've had family in the house. Had some other people come in, had like 12 people for Thanksgiving dinner. It's fantastic.
I saw you went to Charleston as well.
Yeah, we did go to Charleston. It's funny. I moved into the new house. The new house is closer to Charleston. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. I don't know why I don't go there more often. It's a really easy trip, but it was a little cold. But yeah, Charleston's great.
I love Charleston. I saw you said it was a suit town. I remember bouncing around King Street in my younger years, just looking like a total filthy rat bar hopping. So I can't say that I've ever worn a suit there.
Have you been to Savannah?
Yeah, I love Savannah too.
Yeah, I love Savannah. Savannah is not a suit town. Charleston, you can wear a suit around and you kind of fit in. But if you wear a suit to Savannah, you look like a ding dong.
So tell me about this party you got coming up on Friday.
Gosh, I really hope, if you're listening to this and you live in New York or the tri-state area, I really hope you make it. It's at a place called Deux Supper Club, which is 59 West 21st Street. It's Friday night, 7 to 11:30. Really would love you to come out. I'm DJing all night. Usually I have a warm-up DJ, but this time I'm playing open to close. It's going to be great.
And will tickets be on sale through Thursday by the time this podcast comes out?
The link is still going to be live, but I wouldn't even bother with the tickets. I would just show up and pay at the door. It's $25.
Perfect. Next up, how you feeling about this friendly Bitcoin wager you got going? I see it is pulling back slightly today. It's at 95.7. Just for context, for those who may not have heard about this, you bet somebody on Twitter that Bitcoin would go to 85 before it surpassed 100,000.
And that was at least a week ago. And it traded down to like 91-ish.
Did it really?
Yeah, it did. So the way I look at this, I already won. Like I proved my point. There was massive resistance at 100,000. We did get a bit of a correction. I do think we're going to get a bigger correction. But I bet this guy, he said if I won, he would buy my book and show me the receipt to prove that he bought it. And if he won, I would have to mail him a copy of the book signed. Either way I win, another person gets to read my book. Like I don't really like either way I win. So I kind of hope it I win or lose soon. I just want to send the guy a book.
Next for the market headlines. So 2 headlines to kick things off, and then I want to get your macro thesis. So the first one, the dollar strengthens after latest Trump tariff threat. The president-elect said he would impose 100% tariffs on countries that try to replace the greenback as the world's reserve currency. And the second one, I know you have seen this from The Economist. Should investors just give up on stocks outside America? Let's start with the dollar, which you've been pretty bearish on here lately, and then we can move into bonds and then stocks.
I think the U.S. bubble, the U.S. stock market as a percentage of global market cap is an enormous bubble. I think the U.S. in 2024 is like Japan in 1990. There's all kinds of sentiment stuff. You mentioned the Economist article, and that goes for currency strength as well as the stock market. The dollar is incredibly strong. So, yeah, I think all this is connected, and I have no idea what the catalyst is going to be. But when I'm on Twitter, I see stuff all the time, like people making fun of Europe for being like anemic and having no growth. And people, I saw an article earlier today, the miracle of U.S. equities, right? Which is not something you usually see on the lows. Like I see this stuff all the time.
How many people are asking you about how to short the US dollar?
Well, nobody's really asking. Well, I don't know. Maybe a couple of people have. Actually, that's not true. I've had a couple of people ask me on how to do it. And what I just tell them is buy assets denominated in foreign currencies, right? So just buy just a plain old international stock fund. could be an ETF. I have some European ETFs in the Daily Dirt Nap portfolio. It doesn't even have to be one of those. It could be like a Eurostox 50. It could be like VGK or FEZ or something like that, one of the big index ones. Just get some exposure to international assets somewhere. Like you have to diversify away from U.S. assets.
Speaking of Daily Dirt Nap, you have a special deal going on right now. Can you walk people through that? And it deadlines this Thursday at midnight, by the way.
Yeah, so we've had a bunch of people sign up already. So people have signed up and they're getting the Dirt Nap, and I think they enjoy it so far. For $99, you can get 3 months of the Daily Dirt Nap, basically $33 a month, right? Which comes out to about $1.40 an issue. Like it's an incredible deal. And then if you want to stick around, then you have to pay full price at the end of it, which is $795. But for 3 months, you can test drive it, right? And we've already had a bunch of people sign up, and the results have been good. So yeah, I like if you've been getting the Jared Dillian letter, or before that, the 10th Man. If you were a 10th Man reader for years and you've heard me talking about the Daily Dirt Nap, and you've always wanted to try it, and it was like you never could bring yourself to push the button, like now is the time to do it. Now is the time to push the button.
The idea being that you're probably going to get addicted to it in 3 months' time. I mean, it's the first thing I read every morning, legitimately. No BS. I mean, it's amazing. Let's talk private equity, because there seems to be an increasing awareness for the inevitable meltdown. I'm seeing stuff from Bloomberg now. Wall Street math wizards are decoding private market returns. A small band of quants is shining a light into the shadowy world of unlisted assets. This sounds like a Harry Potter spinoff with math wizards and shadowy worlds. What's the latest in private equity? I see that the vultures are kind of circling Wingstop here.
Yeah, Wingstop. I've only been to Wingstop once. I went to Wingstop a couple years ago. I was not really impressed.
It's kind of gross.
It's kind of gross. The thing about Wingstop is that you can get chicken in pretty much any flavor you want. They have like 12 different kinds of flavors and sauces and stuff. I guess it's cool. I wasn't super impressed, but there's commercials on all the time for Wingstop, and like, not Wingstop, but Blackstone just rolled up Jersey Mike's, for $8 billion. Like Wingstop is definitely, you're talking about like a fast casual restaurant or fast food. Like that's the next logical candidate.
I haven't been able to get that $8 billion figure out of my head for Jersey Mike's. Like, just for context, I have some figures here. 4 of the top 5 most valuable sports franchises are valued at lower figures, which to me seems nuts. The Dallas Cowboys are at $9 billion, Yankees $7.1 billion, Golden State Warriors $7, Patriots $7, and the LA Rams $6.9. And then you've got Jersey Mike's going for $8 billion. I guess they have a ton of locations, but I just I would have never thought that a sports franchise would be valued at a lower figure than a sub chain.
Well, and the interesting thing is that Jersey Mike's has 3,500 stores, right? Which is not a lot. That's actually not a lot. Like Subway has like 35 or 40,000 stores, and Subway just got bought by private equity, and that deal is not going well. Subway is just hemorrhaging money. So that is an example of a deal that's not going well. Blackstone, I assume, intends to keep growing Jersey Mike's and IPO it in 3 to 5 years. Like if I was Blackstone, that's what I would do.
What's going on with Subway? I don't know anyone that eats there anymore.
I know, that's the thing. Like if you go to Subway, you kind of walk out of there smelling like Subway. Like there's something about like the bread.
It's the bread.
Like,
yeah.
Remember they said it was like yoga mats, right? It was made of the same material as yoga mats, but Subway just has a smell, and you walk in there, and then later on somebody say, "Did you go to Subway?"
I think there are ungodly amounts of sugar in the bread too.
They cook stuff in the microwave, right? Like if you ask for like an oven roasted chicken, they put it in a microwave. I'm like, it's
Come on.
Now I ate Subway religiously for years, and I used to get the meatball. The meatball is actually pretty good. Like I like getting the Subway meatball, but there's something I don't know. It's I think we moved on from Subway.
Let's go into the mailbag. We have 3 questions. Actually, we have 2 questions and 1 comment. One of the comments is kind of funny, but I'll start with the first one from John. He writes, just curious about whether you draw on Ben Hunt's Epsilon Theory, and if yes, how much it educates your thoughts. If not, is it a credible theory? Just for those who aren't familiar with Epsilon Theory, it is, quote, an exploration of the most powerful force in our social world, i.e. narrative. It aims to explore markets through the lenses of game theory, history, and nature.
Yeah, so I don't read Epsilon Theory, not because I dislike Ben Hunt. I don't. I like Ben. I like their stuff. If you write something and I don't read it, that is a compliment, right? Because I think we've talked about this on the podcast before. I don't read newsletters. I don't read opinion because I don't want to be persuaded by somebody else's opinion and co-opt it as my own, right? So, I mean, I've read Ben's stuff. It's fantastic. And I said to myself, I can't read it because it's a brain worm and it's going to get inside my head and it's going to cloud my judgment, you know? So, I mean, yes, very familiar with Epsilon Theory. They're terrific. I don't read it.
Okay, so yeah, John, it is, you would say it is a credible theory then at least.
Yeah.
Cool. Next from Richard. I greatly enjoy your writing. It's better without swearing. Norman, a character in the Kaminsky Method on Netflix, said that swearing is a sign of a lazy mind. This one is interesting me and I have my own thoughts, but I want you to go first. Do you consider swearing the sign of a lazy mind?
No, I don't think so. I think swearing is a luxury. I think it's a luxury. I think it is a luxury that is afforded to people who are not owned, right? Like, for example, there's a well-known finance guy and he reads my Substack and my Substack has some swearing in it. And he's like, dude, he's like, I don't know how you do that. You just write whatever the hell you want and you don't care what anybody thinks, right? And I'm like, yes, I am not owned. Like, I am my own man. I can write whatever I want and I can punctuate the prose with profanity. Profanity is a luxury that a lot of people do not have. If you're the chief strategist at Charles Schwab, you cannot use profanity, right? Now, that's a great job. You probably get paid more than I do, but you do not have that luxury.
10 out of 10. No notes here. I feel the exact same way about it. It's not something that offends me at all, but I have seen people write in about it before and be like, you got to cut out the swearing. It's like, do you?
Well, I don't have swearing in the Daily Dirt Nap. I don't have swearing in the Jared Dillian letter. I don't have swearing in any of my newsletters. The only places I have it are my Substack and my books. Like that's where it goes. It goes in my Substack and my books. My second book, All the Evil of This World, was so over the top with profanity that it got a lot of negative reviews. It got a ton of negative reviews. People said they threw it in the trash. And it's about once a year, I go on the Amazon site and I go on the 1-star reviews for that book and I just crack myself up. Like people could not handle it. But like I said, I don't put it in my newsletters. And the funny thing is that, I was talking with one of our copywriters and she commented that like when I'm talking to you, I don't really swear. Like I don't swear a lot in person, like in conversation, but I do it in my writing. I don't really know why that is. I moved down to South Carolina 15 years ago. And like when I moved here from New York, I was like, F this, F that, F everything. And people were kind of looking at me funny. Like people don't swear around here, so I'm a Southerner now. Like I live in the South and in polite conversation, I don't swear. I used to, but I don't anymore.
Our last question, this is from, I'm not entirely sure the name. We'll just call this person TK based on their email. This one is regarding gold. I really like your ideas on sentiment and trading on sentiment. My impression on the sentiment surrounding gold is that it is almost universally positive. There are gold bulls and gold bugs everywhere. They're sponsoring all the big podcasts that have audiences that would skew towards buying gold. I even have a friend of mine recently tell me that he'd contacted a company to buy gold based on a commercial starring William Devane. I don't know of any gold bears out there. I'd be interested in your feel for gold sentiment. Let it rip, Jared. What are your thoughts on gold sentiment?
Yeah, gold sentiment is pretty hot. The one thing I will say is that it's been hotter. Gold sentiment has been hotter. Like in 2011, gold sentiment and silver was off the charts hot. Like it was explosive. Like people were so bullish on gold. And I don't think we're at that point yet. But if you look at like futures positioning, if you look at like the commitment of traders and futures, like way more long positioning. Like so the market is very long gold and silver, which does concern me. Sometimes in the markets, you have a trend that is so powerful that it doesn't really matter what the positioning is. It just goes up and up and up. Just for like tactical trading, like I think we put in a high around 2780. We have support around 2530. I think we're kind of in a range. I think we're going to work off some of that hot sentiment and then march to new highs about 3 to 6 months from now. But yeah, I mean, overall, it is pretty hot.
Let's go over to the week ahead. Broadly speaking, stocks will enter the final month of 2024 near record highs as investors look to cap off what's been another stellar year for U.S. stocks, with the S&P up over 27% year to date. That's wild. As for this week in peak stupidity, Haley Welch, aka the Hawk Tua girl, announces that she's launching the Hawk meme coin on December 4th. I believe that goes live at 5 p.m. You getting in on that? Buying some Hawk? I know you are.
No.
All in.
No. And this is one of the reasons why I didn't think Bitcoin was going to get to 100,000. I think the sentiment is pretty hot. Haley Welch, you got to give her credit, for
you do, yeah,
for cashing in on that. I would too. Did you know that the people who had Grumpy Cat made over 9 figures on that? They made over $100 million on Grumpy Cat.
It was just a meme. I vaguely remember it, but...
Well, it was an actual cat. It was this tiny little 4-pound cat that just had like a sourpuss. It was like this grumpy looking cat. And they made coffee mugs and T-shirts and all this paraphernalia, mouse pads, and they cleaned up. And the cat died. The cat actually died very young. It was like 7 years old when it died.
It's crazy what catches on.
I'm trying to figure out how to cash in on one of my cats, like...
Well, you got 7 opportunities. Stick them in commercials or something. I'm thinking about doing that with my dog. All right. On a more serious note, Friday morning, we have the November jobs report. And again, on Friday from 7 to 11:30 p.m., your party in New York. If you're in the city, I'm going to throw a link in the description below. You can get tickets or not, or you can just show up, as Jared said. But if you're in the area, definitely check that out. I think that's about it. Did we cover everything here, Jared? You got anything else on your mind?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, payrolls is not going to be super interesting, I don't think. I think we covered everything.
Everyone, make sure to like, subscribe, drop us a comment. I'm curious, what do you all think? Is Bitcoin going to hit 100K or 85K next? Let us know in the comments below. Jared, thanks for your time. Peace.